Hello, how are you? I was at my hobby shop recently looking for the next kit to build, and I happened to see this MONOGRAM Heritage Edition Ford Trimotor. This is an older kit, and it's older than I'm used to building, but I just couldn't resist. I live by the Henry Ford Museum myself, and I've seen this plane on display at that museum many times as a kid and as an adult. It has a very special history around here, so I had to build it. So according to MONOGRAM, the initial kit was released in May of 1956 as Kit PA-15. It depicted the famous Byrd Expedition aircraft and contained miniature replicas of the dog sled and winter-clad expedition members. This heritage edition of the Ford Trimotor depicts the kit as it appeared in the original release. On the instructions, it lists the copyright as 1956 and 1983. So 1956 when the original mold was made, and 1983 when the Heritage Edition was released. Since this has been sitting in the box for quite an amount of time, I made sure to clean up the parts in warm soapy water before getting started. Once that was complete, as you can see, I'm going to be cleaning up a fair amount of flash around the aircraft and different components. This is just something to expect from an older model like this. It's important to take care of these ejector marks because if you don't, the two fuselage halves or the wing tops will not fit correctly. After doing some cleanup, the fit is actually not too bad. There's still a gap here or there, but nothing that a little filler won't take care of. I wanted to stay true to the original as much as possible, not making a whole lot of modifications to this kit. I will be using some filler to help enhance a little bit of the outside of the plane, but there is no interior details or cockpit to be built. You could scratch one if you wanted to, but again, I'm trying to stay true to the original. These window pieces are kind of thick and a little fiddly, but I found that if I put some glue down to get it to stay in the place, then use some extra thin cement afterwards, I was able to get it to adhere. The plastic on this model is thicker than I'm used to, so you'll see me using extra thin a lot, but there are times where I break out regular cement to help have a stronger bond, so just a little disclaimer there. So the fit on a lot of these parts is actually really good, almost snap together. And I feel like the reason for that is because this was aimed towards kids in the 50s and they had to fit together. Either way, it's really nice that some of them just snap together. And even though this piece snaps together, it doesn't fit snugly against the edges, so I did have to use filler in some of the areas. I decided to clean up this piece as I felt if I left it the way that it came, it would be distracting from the model. And again, here's another piece I couldn't just leave the way that it was with these pin ejector marks, so I just sanded them down and put a little bit of Mr. Surfacer over them. So even though a lot of this is snapping into place, a lot of the holes that the pieces connect into are bigger than they need to be, so I use filler to clean a lot of these up. So using Vallejo black primer, I'm going to black base the entire model. Then I'll be coming over the top of that with flat aluminum. I was really nervous about these decals working, considering their age. I've had decals fall apart on me before, but these ones stood the test of time just fine. I was actually able to move some of them around afterwards, so I was very surprised by that. I suppose I could have gone to the aftermarket and gotten some, but I couldn't really find the Antarctic Expedition ones, and I really wanted to make this as it was out of the box, so I was very happy that these worked out. I went back and forth a little bit about how to weather this, but after going online and asking some people, I came to the decision that I was going to use an oil wash using maybe about a 60 to 40% ratio of black to brown, and in the end I was happy with how it turned out. And what would a 1950s model slash toy be without an actual spinning propeller? The directions said to paint this a brown, but the one at Henry Ford I think is silver, so I went with silver. And for the skis, I just black based, used a brown, and then I put some oil paint, the same wash I used on the plane, and just rubbed it in with a cotton bud here to give it some depth. This airplane was really important in aviation history. They coined it the Tin Goose. It was introduced in 1926 and it contained a number of design innovations that were quite revolutionary. Not only was the Trimotor the first aircraft constructed entirely from metal, but it was also the first commercial airline built in the United States. The Ford Trimotor depicted here is that of 1929 Admiral Richard Byrd's Antarctic Expedition. Byrd succeeded in flying over the South Pole and established aviation history as the first flight of its kind. This is the actual plane that I saw as a kid in the Henry Ford Museum. If you're ever in the area, I would highly recommend going to see this piece of aviation history. Despite its age, this model was a joy to build, and I'm proud to add it to my collection. Thank you for watching the video. If you like this video, why not subscribe? Also, I'd love to hear any feedback that you have. Until next time, I'm Joe, and keep modeling.